Thank you. Hello, Zoomers. We've got a few here. We've got William Owens. We welcome William. It was his birthday during the week. And we've got Mandy. Hello, Mandy. And Stephanie. Lorraine's here. Robin Wren's here. And also Wayne, of course, and Catherine. Welcome to you all, and welcome to you here. It's good to see you here today, especially for this topic. The power for the month is Zeal for October. And the colour is orange and all that stuff, which I love because it gives us something to put a hook on, things to talk to. I wasn't a great student of English in late high school, and my English teacher was quite surprised when I actually got a job on the local radio station to read commercials and be an announcer, because I wasn't like that at all. But hearing Elvis Presley and other things like that brought out the zeal out in me, and I loved it. And I used to go to this radio station every day after school during the week, and they started to give me little things to do. So I'd eventually sit at the desk and I'd learn to work the panel and all that stuff. So that was a zeal for me. Now I'll explain this word zeal. 2 words. Leslie, the English teacher, knows all these words. And you've heard me do this one before, I think. It's been a couple of years. Does anyone know what onomatopoeia is? Onomatopoeia. Shame on you. Do you know, Roberta? It's like a sound, is like, for example, quack. Sounds like a duck. And there's one before that too, an alliteration. Do you know what that is? Yes. What's that, Sheila? Can you say one for us? Oh, it wasn't a challenge. Wasn't a challenge. Okay. Onomatopoeia. Okay. That's the main one. Slam, fizzy, quack. The word zeal, for example, that brings other words to my head. Zest. Any more?
Energy.
Energy, yes. But with the Z sound, zingy. Zingy. And when Beverly was here once when we were talking about this, we did a song called Zippity Doodah. Yes, I think we've overdone that one though, haven't we? Can you still remember it? You'll have to come to our Christmas party. Maybe we can do it there. So anyway, so where did this word originate as we use it today? Well, according to the Jewish historian Josephus, there were many different things going on at the time, but there were 3 main Jewish groups at the time of Jesus: the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the Essenes. And the Essenes aren't mentioned in the Bible, but Josephus mentions them, and there's quite a bit about them, as we've seen, I think, the 60s and 70s. Edward Bordeaux-Seslicki had some wonderful books out on the Essenes. I nearly went there, but I sent a letter to them asking where they were. 2 years later, I got a letter back. And they were in the middle of, I think it was Costa Rica at the time, so looking back, I'm glad I didn't go. In this word zealots, now they're a nationalistic set. This is not mentioned very much in the Bible, but it is. They combined the religious practices of the Pharisees, who had strict allegiance to the law of Moses, but they sought the downfall of the Roman occupation at the time. A disciple of the month, Simon the Cananean, is written up in Acts 1 verse 3 and also in Luke 6:15 as Simon the Zealot. Now we have a slide here. Does anyone know what that is? What? No, what do you think it is? That's right, it's Masada. Is that what you were going to say, Martin?
Yeah, I've been there.
Have you?
Yes.
Oh.
There in 2006.
Is there much happening there now? Is it all?
It's exactly like that. You can go around and tour the feel like the ancient ruins, and you're on the spot where they would lay siege, didn't they?
Yes, that's right. I'm just going to mention that. That's amazing. I hope there's not a cafe on the top of it. Oh dear.
You just walk up. You do, yeah.
My goodness. Well, I noticed there's a sort of a road there, but right in the back is the Red. Is it the Dead Sea?
It is right.
Right, and is that the Dead Sea or?
Yes.
It is the Dead Sea. Masada. Masada, yes. It was King Herod's beach house. And anyway, it was the Zealots who survived the Romans for about 3 years. And by retreating to Masada, that's Hebrew for fortress, overlooking the Dead Sea, this was, as we were saying, the summer retreat of King Herod. And they were eventually overtaken by the zeal of the Roman army, who were equally determined, equally as zealous to sue these so-called rebels. They got there eventually. It took them a while, but they managed to get up to the top, and I think it was 300 left, and they decided they weren't going to be subdued under Roman rule, and so they all took their own lives. It would have been a terrible sight to see, terrible victory for the Romans. But anyway, that's the zealous part of us. So this volcanic power of zeal, along with wisdom and understanding, is a vital ingredient to living life to the fullest. From the Gospel of Thomas, from the Nag Hammadi desert in Egypt in 1945, if you bring forth what is in you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is in you, what you are not bringing forth will destroy you. Now, what does that mean? Well, to me, I thought about that, and we all come with great gifts. We're here not to just do nothing. We're here to express spirit. What a gift. And the gift of life, that energy is flowing through us. And that wonderful meditation, Leslie, you could feel it, especially with those affirmations activating it. So we've all got the gift of life. We have to be engaged in it. And if we don't, we've seen what happens to people that don't. They lose interest in life. And it's a sad story to even converse with some of them. 1 Corinthians 12:11. Now, there are diverse gifts of spirit, but the same Spirit. Isn't that amazing? This amazing energy that's part of us, and we are it in expression. And I had a little poem here I was going to read you. It's from the Gnostic Gospels. The Spirit who had this power gave birth and created nature's forms, so the great prodigality concealed in it might be revealed. Because of its compassion and its unconditional love, it wished to bear such fruit, so it need not enjoy its abundant perfection alone. Reason reveals how faith in unseen powers was found in the seen and is owned by the unborn one. Whoever has ears to hear, let them hear. And it's quite humbling to know that we say, yes, we are God in action, we are using that power, we are it in expression, but we didn't invent it. And quite often I sit and think about that, and I look at those satellite photos of the Earth. Doesn't it look wonderful from space, the blue planet? And you think, for goodness sakes, can't we all just relax and enjoy it? We're just a minuscule portion on this planet. And you look at the size of the countries like Africa and Australia, and you think, this is amazing, and we are here on it. So Spirit is always, forever the same. One God, one Spirit, but different forms of manifestation. I'm sure we've all come across someone who's given up on life, and some have had a talent that was never expressed to the fullness. Often these people have a sadness about them, a bitterness. And I know, I say this because it was such a big statement by this wonderful professor when I was at the conservatorium. here we are, 20 of us, all thought we were the most wonderful piano players in the world. And we hadn't really got into it properly yet. And she said, many are called, few are chosen. Well, those ones that didn't turn out to be superstars doing winning competitions, the Chopin competition or whatever else, I looked at that. I never did any of that. But what my time did there was it made me express in other ways. I've always enjoyed music, but I'm certainly not up there with the jazz greats or whatever else, but it's satisfying to me. And I'm very pleased that I kept my piano lessons up, as you can see. And I also came across a wonderful photograph of Yogananda. Do you remember him? Yes, and here he is in a Western suit playing the Hammond organ. It was the most I made a copy of that just in my, I've got a book of photos that I keep for inspiration, and that was one of them. Sometimes, even in our most zealous moments, we don't seem to get any further in our quest. We're in a world of opposites. We're only allowed to get so high before we come down again. We have dark nights of the soul, some stronger than others, longer than others, more painful than others, and it's a bit of a drag. But we keep going and do the best we can wherever we are, knowing that Spirit is guiding us all the time. So, how do we express our zeal? Some shout from the rooftops in our face. Others just go about their business, just gently and quietly. We're all inspired by the life coaches and motivators like Anthony Robbins and all those people. They were incredible. I remember when I was younger thinking, this is amazing. I didn't go much further with it because I got into this philosophy and I've got a more quieter approach. But it doesn't matter. We need these people. Like Billy Graham, he had the MCG biggest crowd forever there, talking about the Bible. And when you think about 2 weeks ago, I think it was the finals, they had about 200,000. Well, Billy Graham had just as many for his crusade here. Some people, we call them extroverts, I suppose, but what about the introverts? Some of the greatest ideas in art and music, inventions, were produced by people who just preferred to stay in their studio and do their own thing, and that way we got the music of Beethoven, Van Gogh, that sunflower painting. I'll never, ever give up appreciating that. And other people like that, they just quietly do their thing. But it's also ironic that people need an extrovert to bring their goods to the main public. So in her book, The Power of Introverts, in a world that can't stop talking, the author Susan Cain writes, "The secret to life is to put yourself in the right lighting. For some, it's a Broadway spotlight in your face on the internet, Facebook, or for others, a quiet lamplit or candlelit desk. But whether we consider ourselves introvert or extrovert, we can express our zeal and enthusiasm as we greet each other, also in our prayers and meditations, but with feeling. With an energized spirit, we can turn what even seems to be the most tedious activity into something important. When you think of it, those quiet people, when we were in lockdown, which I think it affected a lot of us in some weird way, the longest lockdown in the world, and yet we had people in the supermarket just quietly doing their own thing, putting up with a little bit more abuse than they normally get for some reason, and others. And I look back, at Sunday school, we had this lady always used to come every Sunday and bring us a sponge cake. Now, I remember that. Isn't that ridiculous? but she did it with love. And I just remember it was about enough for about 5 slices. It wasn't a big one. And so it was in first served. So we made sure that we got in for it. But they're the little things you remember. And going back in history, Brother Lawrence in the kitchen, he had a high state of consciousness. And all he wanted to do was just help in the kitchen. But he did it with love, and you feel when something is done with love. Mother Teresa, of course, is another one who served. So, we've got a slide here. A few questions to ponder. Oh, that's part of it. That's to create an ambience. That is a pyramid in Mexico, and it's the Toltec pyramid, one of them. I think it's amazing. The pyramids in Egypt, and right along the other side of the world, there's that one, and there's more in Mexico pre-Columbian times. And so here's what the next slide. Do a few questions for us. Do we need more than ever? We do need zeal ever in these times, do we? Yes. What if we lose our zeal? How do we regain our zeal? And what are we zealous about? And is it in line with universal order? Now, the Toltec wisdom has a bit of help for us here. The author who wrote the book, The Four Agreements, considers himself a master teacher from the Toltec lineage. He had dedicated his life to sharing the wisdom of the ancient Toltecs. Toltec knowledge arises from the same spiritual traditions found around the planet, just slightly culturally different in every area. And it's a path of practical spirituality / wisdom to help keep us balanced on our journey through life here in this schoolroom of Mother Earth. Thousands of years ago, the Toltecs were known throughout southern Mexico as men and women of knowledge. Anthropologists have spoken if the Toltec as a nation or race, but in fact they formed a society within themselves, shamans and mystics, and ones who explored and conserved the spiritual practices of the ancient ones. They came together as masters and students at Teotihuacan, which was that pyramid, an ancient city, where the pyramid was, of the pyramid outside Mexico City, known as the place where mankind becomes God. Eventually, European conquest, coupled with misuse of personal power by some of the unenlightened ones, made it necessary to shield the knowledge from those who might gain intentionally or unintentionally misuse the power for personal gain. Well, the powers of the knowledge is there now, and we use it. We take the consequences for how we use it. But the book, The Four Agreements, by Don Miguel Rios, don't buy the book, they're all on the front cover. But the first one, be impeccable with your word. I think we've got it there. There it is. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. Don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. And here's the one that I've linked into the talk, the fourth one. Always do your best. Doing your best means enjoying the action without expecting the reward. And at times our best will be good and at times it won't be. And we all know why that is, because life is a journey. Some days we've got that zeal to go out there and do it, and other times we just do it. And in cold blood sometimes. But we show up, and that's all we can do. And that's what we do. We show up and express what we're meant to express with the group of people we're in at the moment. So that was a good book, and I didn't want to get into it, but I think it was last Thursday. I opened it up and I had to start reading it again, so there went that afternoon.
We did it in a book group here.
What's that?
We did it in a book
That's right, yes. And I got this one at years ago when I was at the airport waiting to go to a Unity retreat in Brisbane. Okay, now how are we going for time? Yes, I better move on. So to sum up, at times we can become obsessed or overzealous with a project or a cause, but do not give fair or equal coverage to the other basic aspects of our life. We are body, mind and spirit. And if our enthusiasm for a cause creates imbalance in any one of these areas, we suffer, usually in a health or mental crisis of some kind. And it's amazing when you sit down there quietly and you're meditating about what you want to talk about. I just open the Bible and there in the Gospel of John, come ye apart a while and rest. This is Jesus speaking to his disciples. And Jesus did that. Come ye apart and rest. So to live consciously, we are wise to use this volcanic power of zeal with the powers of wisdom, love and understanding. We need to navigate all areas of our lives. As spiritual beings, we navigate our way through this world of matter, its ups and downs, in, out, hot, cold. We are thrown around by the elements. I think this winter was the worst I've ever experienced. But there again, see, I'm older now, whereas at a younger age, I wouldn't have experienced it that much. Not to say it's any worse now than it was then. And when we forget the stages of life, life is different at each stage. What I thought of at 21, thinking, I was amazing, I could do this, that. When you get older, you think, well, okay, I'm here, I'm just grateful to be alive. And we've got people like Sylvia Erickson, Reverend Sylvia, and she's 100 and I think she's got about 6 months, 106 months. And I saw her the other day and I thought to myself, she's in the world. Why? Because of a high state of consciousness. The answer came to me. We have people that, when you say just be, are they? They're of a high state of consciousness in a space. We may not even know what they're contributing to the world, but they are there and they are contributing. So, unconditional love, and this is a bit twee to finish, I was wondering whether I should. It's a poem by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Someone said this to me a few years ago and I thought, this is rubbish. But I read it and now I appreciate it. A person should hear a little music, read a little poetry and see a fine picture every day of their life, in order that worldly cares may not obliterate the sense of the beautiful which God has implanted in the human soul. So, join us this month as we discuss and see how we're affected by the power of zeal. Thank you.